Hey everybody, what's going on? It's TwoHeadedFlounder. Welcome to another post-rotation deck profile. Today we're going to be looking at Hitmonchan deck for post-rotation. Now this is going to be an interesting deck because of a few reasons. We're losing Guzma and we are also losing Field Blower, which means the strategy for this deck is kind of annoying and difficult to get around, and if you do manage to get around it, you're going to be just using resources you probably didn't want to use to try and get around it. So first up, Hitmonchan, 90 HP, basic Pokemon, hit and run, does 30, and then you switch this with one of your bench Pokemon. Well, there's not a whole lot of great bench Pokemon we have right now, but we do have Druddigon, and Druddigon has the ability Rough Skin. If this Pokemon is damaged by any attack, even if it's knocked out, you're going to put 3 damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon for attacking into it. I know it's not great, and 110 HP isn't the best HP number to be at. It is a basic, it does get down, and we have Dragon Talent. If the Dragon Pokemon this card is attached to is attacked by your opponent's active Pokemon and is damaged by an attack, put 3 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So that means, well, if they attack into it, they're taking 6 damage. And that's not really good, especially when we have things like Shrine of Punishment or Martial Arts Dojo and Diancie in play, meaning that our damage output with Hitmonchan can actually be pretty well. Diancie being up in prizes means Hitmonchan can hit for 90 damage for a single energy, and if we have Shrine of Punishments, they're going to be taking damage counters in between turns. So I think there's a lot of potential here, and I really like the idea of the deck, especially when these cards only give up 1 prize, which is definitely going to be really annoying for our opponent. And this is where the mention of Guzma and Field Blower come into play. We don't have them anymore, so trying to not take 60 is going to be very difficult. One of the only ways is by playing Custom Catcher, which you sadly have to play 2 at a time to get the Gust effect. And, that's going to take some resources to get to. It's not to say your opponent isn't going to have 2 of them in your hand, but they might have to use their supporter for the turn, like Green's Exploration, to search Custom Catcher and then use Custom Catcher. So that means they use their supporter for the turn. They've had to waste 2 of their Custom Catcher just to get us. And I think that's actually a pretty fair trade, especially when they only get 1 prize. And if they are knocking out something, it's going to be attempting to get Diancie, which is pretty bulky, or Hitmonchan, which we play multiple of in the deck. So it's pretty much fine. We're also going to be playing a couple copies of Hitmonlee, 2 to be exact, because trying to get special combo going is really good for the deck. You can only use this attack if you used Hit and Run with Hitmonchan, and then this attack does 90 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. It's not the best attack, it's not the worst attack, it's pretty decent, but just think that if they have Dedenne on the bench and you hit it twice, that's pretty much 2 free prizes for you. So in that thought process, this is a pretty good attack. And lastly, we're playing a one-of Hitmontop, just to finish up the combo, literally. Finishing combo, if you use Hitmonlee's special combo, which of course you have to use Hit and Run to use, this attack does 60 damage to all your opponent's Pokemon. That's just good. That is really good, especially if we have something like Shrine of Punishment in play. It's even more damage on them. It's going to be hard to pull off. That's why we're not going overboard and just attempting the combo. But if we have the pieces in, then why not go for it? We're also playing 3 copies of Jirachi for the Stellar Wish. This is going to help us get the cards necessary for setting up and doing things. Once during your turn, if this is your active Pokemon, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal a trainer card you find there, and put that card into your hand. This Pokemon is now asleep. So, of course, the usual strats with Jirachi include Escape Board, having a couple copies of Switch, and maybe it's Liza just to get it out of the active, or some of our other guys out of the active. But yeah, this is a pretty important card for just grabbing pieces of our puzzle. And lastly, for Pokemon, we are playing a copy of Resource Management Oranguru, because this card is probably worth playing in a lot of decks right now, because we don't have a whole lot of just discard pile recycle stuff. I don't know why I can't think of words. So put 3 cards of any combination of your discard pile into the bottom of your deck. I can't talk. So this is great for maybe getting back a couple of Druddigon or Dragon Talents for them. Maybe even grabbing Custom Catcher back, grabbing some energy back if we're too low. Maybe getting Shrine back. A lot of these pieces that are really, really important. So it's a good card. It's not going to be in every matchup. You're going to need to require it. You probably don't need it in most, but in other ones, you might want to try and attempt to get some of the stuff back. And then moving on to the rest of the deck. Playing a copy of Adventure Bag. So this is a pretty good card for the deck. Honestly, I would suggest running 2, but with room limitations for the deck, 1 is just fine. It's going to allow you to basically search your deck for 2 tool cards, which is deck thinning, especially because you're going to be able to put these guys down no problem. And yeah, it's just a great one-of to have in the deck, especially opening hand, just get set up. We're playing 4 copies of Custom Catcher because this is a really, really good card. And this is our only guest effect, obviously. But if we do have to use 1, it's not the end of the world. If we can play our hand down to 0 and then draw 3, that's a nice little touch. But really just for the gust effect. And that's what it's here for. You're going to see this a lot after rotation. So again, these kind of work pretty well together if you have to use just 1. We're playing 2 copies of Mysterious Treasure because this just lets us search out Druddigon. There's not a whole lot of Pokeball search in the next format, and what there is Cherish Ball, and Cherish Ball doesn't work for any of these guys. So we have Mysterious Treasure to help search out Druddigon. We also are playing, well, that's the wrong one, Old Art, it's confusing. 3 copies of Pokemon Communication. Because we have a lot of Pokemon, we can definitely benefit from having this and grabbing the correct Pokemon that we might need. So that's a nice little touch. Single copy of Palpad. This is probably something you really don't need, especially if you have Resource Management or Guru, so maybe that's your second Adventure Bag if you want to go that route. But, getting back Teen Liza for the deck, it seems like it might be pretty important. But also, there's some pretty good supporter cards in the deck that we might want to regain. So, 3 copies Switch because he's going to be annoying to get out of the active, and he's going to be annoying to get out of the active, and sometimes you're not going to have an escape board, and you don't really want to be attaching an energy to Druddigon to then retreat. So, there's that, but we do play plenty of energy that if you need to do that, that's fine. We are also playing Rock's Grid for getting energy and Pokemon back. So there's a lot of ways to retreat in this deck. A single copy of Martial Arts Dojo. I would have liked a second one, but the thing is, you have to be down in prizes, which with a deck like this, it's very likely you could be. But at the same time, if they're not attacking into our Druddigon and things like that, then, we might actually be in the prize lead. So I don't really want to go overboard with this one if it's not going to be too useful, but having 1 in the deck seemed like it's pretty good. But I would definitely go with 3 Shrine because this is the ideal stadium for pretty much this deck. We have no GX Pokemon whatsoever. If our opponent are playing GX Pokemon, they're going to have a terrible time, and I think that this is really just the way to go. We're playing a copy of Brock's Script because, again, shuffling combination of Pokemon and energy into the deck seems like it'd probably be a good idea. But really, this is our only recycling card for Pokemon at the moment, other than, is it Dive Ball? One of them, and it's a terrible card, so Brock's great. 3 copies of Cynthia, it's just good draw support. 4 copies of Lily. I might even flip-flop them around depending on how the deck functions for you. In the early game, you're definitely going to be dropping cards down like it's nothing, but maybe into the later game, your hand's going to be clunked up with Pokemon, and Lily might not be so much of a great card at that point in time. But Teen Liza, we're going to play 2 copies of this because of the switch effect, really just for the switch effect, but maybe the first effect could be useful. Again, with Palpad and Oranguru, we're going to have just ways to get switched back into the deck. So that's a good thing to have. We've already gone over these. And lastly, 8 copies of Fighting Energy because we need to attack. And, we have to dedicate 4 to Hitmonchan for sure. We're going to have to maybe consider dedicating 2 to Hitmonlees and 1 to Hitmontop, which means we have 1 left, which is a dedicated retreat, or resource management. So I think that this is pretty much an important card for the deck, because if they do manage to do things like custom catcher around and then also play resource management Oranguru and then custom catcher around again, you know, we're gonna lose Hitmonchan, and that's just not a fun situation to be in. But I think that this card, this deck in general, is going to be very difficult to play around, and more likely or not, your opponent is going to have to be attacking into Druddigon. So I think that this deck is very, very good at the moment, considering what we have after post-rotation. So that's the deck. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to see any other decks made, let me know in the comments, and I'll try and get to them. I have a couple more coming out soon, but I really wanted to get this one out because this one was the most fun that I thought of. So there's that. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, you can leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you all next time.